Welcome back to another one of our video series here at Discover Dunwoody. As you know, we like to bring in folks from the neighborhood or anyone who can help you learn something new or maybe give you some information about our destination. We have another wonderful guest this time, and she is Darcy Johnson, who's the marketing manager of the Dunwoody Nature Center, who we affectionately refer to here in Dunwoody as the DNC. Welcome, Darcy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you bet. I love that. Hey, tell me, we in the office, we kind of laugh because we'll refer to you guys as the DNC frequently. And the first time it happens, we always get the Democratic National Committee. Do you ever get that?
Yes, actually. In fact, my boss doesn't really like it when I put DNC on any of our calendar listings or in our newsletter, anything. So we usually call it the Nature Center or Dunwoody Nature Center.
All right.
But, of course, people in town are going to call us DNC. It's the easy shortcut.
I was going to say, should we stop referring to you as the DNC?
No, I think it's okay. I think it's a little catchy.
All right.
It's a little acronym.
I like it. And locally, actually, you know what? The city says that too. Folks in the city refer to you as a DNC. All right. Well, good to know. We'll stop saying DNC and refer to you as the Nature Center because, quite frankly, it's a little confusing.
Can be confusing. Yeah.
Well, Darcy and I spoke before we started recording today, and here's something really cool. You're not from Georgia. Where did you grow up?
I'm not. I grew up in Southern California. Spent the first 18 years of my life there, and then went to college in San Francisco, so I am a California girl.
I love that. So I lived in San Francisco for 5 years, and Darcy and I were comparing notes. She doesn't like Southern California. Oh, wait a minute. That's not what you said. She said
I didn't say that. They're going to kick me out.
But there is major differences, and I do think major is a good word, major differences between Southern California and Northern California, and the ecosystem's really different. How is Northern California different than Southern California?
So Northern California is definitely a lot greener, although nowhere near as green as Georgia. A lot more nature activities to do, a lot more undeveloped areas in Northern California outside of the cities.
Sure.
And Southern California, while it does have beautiful beaches, is super developed, super gray. I don't know. Gray is not the right word because it's blue skies, but no trees.
Everybody knows about the soup in LA, right? Because it's trapped in that bowl there between the ocean and everything, the wind's blowing it all in. But, both areas. Southern California is beautiful. The beaches are great. But even that area, California weather is just terrific.
It really is.
And in fact, San Francisco in the Bay Area is, it's like air conditioning. 24/7, 365. In fact, when my wife and I moved out there, I could not find an apartment with air conditioning, and I refused not to have an apartment with without air conditioning. I wasn't going to do, and I had to give up on that. You don't need it.
You don't need it. No.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I think San Francisco actually surprises a lot of people because it is very gray, cloudy most days of the year. People expect that California weather, and you're not going to see it as often there.
That's right. They always have an Indian summer, so that when you want to go to San Francisco in the fall, because it is a lot more sunny and bright. Well, we're not here to talk about San Francisco. We're here to talk about the Dunwoody Nature Center. So, as the marketing manager, you do a lot of great things, but I'd love for you to share, what do you do and why do you do it?
Sure. So, the Dunwoody Nature Center is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we, our biggest thing that we do is put on programs for people in the community. So we put on programs for children, we put on programs for teenagers, programs for adults, and all of them focus on the Georgia ecosystem and teaching kids and adults about nature and getting them outside and getting them excited about nature. So.
And that's a space you really like.
It is.
What did you get your degree in?
My degree is in recreation, parks, and tourism with an emphasis in outdoor education. So I immediately fell in love with the park. As soon as I saw it, I just fell in love. It's a beautiful space. It's kind of a little pocket hidden in this city. And I really loved that about it. So the Nature Center is a great place for teaching these people, people from all around Atlanta, not just Dunwoody,
Wow.
but teaching them about the environment and kind of getting them out into it and giving them that North Georgia experience, but right here in the perimeter area.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
What's a good example of a misconception about the Atlanta, the Georgia ecosystem that people really should know?
A misconception. Well, I think people don't realize quite how much wildlife there is in the Atlanta area.
Oh.
I think we do have, we were kind of talking about this earlier, but it is the city in the trees, and the animals are aware of that, and they're here. They're right here in our backyard. So I think that's a really cool thing, just how much biodiversity there is
That's really cool.
right here in Atlanta.
Yeah. It is pretty amazing that we have hawks in our backyard, and they are beautiful, beautiful birds. But, you know, why are they there? It's because there's a lot of food,
There is, yeah.
right? And so between all of the, you know, there are those tree rodents, the squirrels, right, that they feed on, as well as all of the other ground and snakes and things. And there's a lot of that. Hey, here's a question for you. If I have a small dog, should I be worried about hawks?
It depends on how small your dog is.
So it could be based on, you know.
It could be,
if I got
yeah.
a tiny little chihuahua, I should
If
probably
you've
be
got a
careful.
little chihuahua and there's a really big hawk or a great horned owl or something.
Ooh, owls, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so the thing about the birds is it depends on the size of their talons. So if the animal can fit in their talons, they can eat it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
There is somebody on staff who has a very small dachshund. I hope she's watching this. She needs to be careful there.
Yeah, hope she's bringing it inside in the
Yeah.
evenings.
All right, good. So, so as a marketing manager, do you do education still, or are you focused on marketing? I mean, that's
So
how does it work?
yeah, I'm focused on marketing, but I think that the two do go hand in hand, especially with channels like Instagram and Facebook. We
Sure.
try to kind of put some education on there for people. So even if they're just scrolling through, they can learn a quick fact about hawks or about snakes. I think we just did a post last week about how to stay safe in the creek, because it's something a lot of
good.
people don't think about, you know, and
Right.
they think, oh, we're right here in the city, I don't need to really worry about wildlife, or I don't need to worry about what's going to happen in the creek. But, you know,
Water moccasins or
exactly.
cottonmouths or those sorts of
Yeah,
snakes,
we're
right?
not trying to make people scared, but
should
there
be,
are
right?
educational opportunities even on social media. So
Oh, that's
for the most
great.
part, you know, we're promoting our programs, we're promoting our upcoming events, we're talking about new things happening around the Nature Center, but we do try to put in those education
I love that.
aspects as well. And it's almost like still being an educator, but to an even broader audience.
That's great. That's great. So, do you guys ever see deer in the Nature Center?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
I was going to say, I
Especially-
can imagine.
Yeah, I think over the last couple months, the population has just boomed.
Right.
You can see deer in the Nature Center any time of day, any day of the week.
Wow. Yeah, I'm amazed at how their population has exploded. It seems we're seeing them more and more often. Well, that's great. All right, now there are things happening at the Dunwoody Nature Center, and it's great that you guys hold these events. What are some of those upcoming events?
Yeah, so one that I'm particularly excited about is Butterfly Weekend, coming up September 8th through 10th.
Okay.
So Butterfly Weekend is kind of a combination of two different events. One that has been going on for almost 30 years now, and
Wow.
one that has just got started a couple years ago, but both equally exciting.
Yep.
So we basically kick off Butterfly Weekend with Butterflies and Brews, which is a 21 and over event. So first things first, Butterfly Weekend, we are shipping hundreds of butterflies to the Dunwoody Nature Center.
Oh, okay. So wait a
Yeah.
minute. So that actually is that was a question I had. So the butterflies don't just migrate there. You don't send an invitation out to all local butterflies. They come here this weekend. You guys actually bring them in.
We bring them in. So we have a butterfly vendor that's actually located in Kentucky.
A
but
butterfly vendor.
Butterfly
Who knew
vendor.
there was such a thing?
Yep. People get butterflies for all kinds of different events. You
Wow.
know, weddings and funerals and all kinds of things. But we buy them from a specific company that is staffed by entomologists, and they send us all Georgia native species of butterflies.
Wow.
Yeah, so they ship them in a box. The box has ice in there, so it's kind of ice packed in a cooler box.
Kind of slows them down.
It slows them down and it
Okay.
puts them to sleep. And they're all packed in little envelopes. It's honestly kind of an odd experience. But yeah, they're inside these small envelopes, and we just have to kind of carefully take them out of the envelopes. And over an hour or so, they warm up and they start flying around.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I love that. So all the butterflies come to town in their own little, it's almost like their own little airplane. No, they don't. They fly in, and you take them out of the little compartments, and you don't have to do CPR or anything on them, right?
No.
You just warm them up, and they just start to fly.
Yes, the Georgia air warms them up plenty, pretty
Darn,
quickly.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Have you guys ever taped that, recorded that? Is that something you want?
It's a great
Do
idea.
people
I
get
mean,
upset by that?
some people do get a little put off by it,
Yeah.
but the
doesn't hurt
butterflies
them.
are totally safe, right? It doesn't hurt them at all.
It's probably better than trying to ship them when they are fully alert.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, that would be a lot more dangerous and stressful for the butterflies if they were just loose in a box. So yeah, it's almost like what happens to them over winter. So it is natural for them to slow down when they're cold. Yeah, so that's
That begs another
a great
question.
content idea.
So the butterflies that we see in Atlanta, what is their lifespan? Do they live through winter?
So it depends, actually. So most butterflies are only going to live a period of a couple weeks. But one of my favorite species of butterflies, the monarch, they have one of the most interesting life cycles. And so it depends on what time of year they hatch and what time of year they pupate, which is when they go into the chrysalis. So some of them,
So hold on.
Yes.
You said chrysalis.
chrysalis, yes.
What is that?
That is the cocoon.
Okay.
So the caterpillar is going to eat a lot of food. Then when it's ready, it's going to basically, it's a really weird process where their insides become their outsides and they wrap themselves up in a cocoon.
This is so fascinating.
It's,
Really is
yeah, I'm
fascinating.
simplifying it, definitely. But yeah, it takes about 2 weeks. They're inside a cocoon, and inside that cocoon, they are turning into goop and then reforming into the butterfly that we know and that we see out
So
in
astounding.
nature. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So monarch butterflies, if they are out of their chrysalis just before winter starts, they go on this crazy migration. So they start in Canada and they take a couple different paths. So they don't all come through Georgia, but there are some that come through Georgia, and they're all heading down to Mexico. And they're going to overwinter in Mexico. So that batch of butterflies that crosses an ocean and makes it all the way to Mexico is going to live for about 6 months. And they will chill out, they'll get cold, hang out in a tree, and just be there.
And they'll stay there through winter, and then do they fly back?
Then they fly back. Yeah, and so one
Wow.
specific butterfly isn't going to make the entire journey from Canada to Mexico and back to Canada, but the offspring will remember the path that the ones
That is
before them are on
unbelievable.
and continue that path. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's astounding is you said the butterflies that become butterflies just before winter know to go.
They do. Yes, they know
Right.
to go, and they know that they're going to live longer than the rest. They know they're not ready to die yet. But yeah, most of them
Why?
only live a period of
Why?
a couple weeks.
But why? Why go to Mexico? Why not just stay where you are and
Yeah, I think it's too cold. It's too cold
Okay.
up
All right,
north,
so
and
the
even Georgia,
species
yeah, might be a
wants
little
to
too
survive.
cold. Right.
Ah.
So it's going to be colder in the winter in Mexico than the summer in Mexico, but not as cold as Canadian winter.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really pretty incredible.
I think that's phenomenal. And I didn't realize they actually flew over the ocean. I thought they would work their way around.
Yeah, they kind of catch a wind, and it takes them
they probably
over.
get there faster.
Yeah.
That's so cool. All right, so back to butterflies in Brews
Right.
and Butterfly Weekend. That happens every year?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple butterfly events. There's one in called the fall, and don't you have one in the spring?
We do have an event in the spring called Monarchs and Margaritas. There are no live butterflies at Monarchs and Margaritas.
Okay.
That is just our big fundraising party that we
Okay.
have every year at the Nature Center.
Got it.
And it is a lot of fun as well. There are margaritas, although there are no monarchs.
So you can imagine that there's monarchs and have a margarita.
Yeah,
I like that.
definitely.
All right, good. And there's an annual event for that too.
Yes.
That's fantastic. So, what is it that you like? I mean, we talked a lot about butterflies, but what is it that you personally like about the butterfly event? Butterfly weekend, if I could.
It is just such a great community event. That's one thing that I've really loved about the Dunwoody Nature Center, and that I've loved about Dunwoody in general, is this community feeling that you get. And people come from all over, and I think they still really get that sense of community.
Right.
And it's just fun. We have games, there's arts and crafts, there's live music, we have magicians, we have a bubble man who comes and makes these giant bubbles.
There it is right there, that's a hook.
Right? Yeah. So even me as an adult, I love this bubble man. I'm just like, I could stand and watch him make these giant bubbles for hours. And then you get to go in and you get to have these butterflies just flying all around you. You get to take your pictures with them.
Oh, wow.
They land on your head, they land on your shoulders, and it's just, I don't know, you
So-
feel like a fairy.
Are the butterflies just flying all over the park, or is there a certain spot for them?
So we have 3 tents set up on site
Okay.
with the mesh netting around the tents.
Oh, okay.
And so you go inside the tent to experience
Oh, good.
the butterflies.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yes.
So you don't have to go chase them around.
No.
You can go in and they're a large number of them in the
Yes,
space.
a large number of them
Huh.
kind of contained, and we sell the tickets in time slots, so you get about 20 minutes inside the tent with the butterflies with not a huge group of people, so it's kind of that intimate
Oh, that's pretty cool.
experience. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
That's great.
Yeah.
We have little tasting sticks with nectar on them, so the butterflies will fly up to drink the nectar right from your hand.
Oh, that's really
Yes,
cool.
it is. It's a lot of fun.
Well, so it sounds like something that you've got to go check out, folks.
Definitely.
So definitely pay attention to whatever's on the website. I'm sure they can find on the website.
Yes.
We'll get to the website in a second. Go check this thing out. It is terrific. I have gone and got to experience the nectar and saw how the butterflies were so fascinated, and they land on it and they stand there a while as they drink the
Yes.
nectar from the little sponges. It's very cool. So you're from the beautiful Bay Area. Well, you're from Southern California. You know Northern California well. How is Atlanta, Dunwoody different? How's that ecosystem different from the West Coast?
It's basically as different as it can be within the same
Really?
country.
Wow.
Yeah, while still having trees and being forested. So we here in Atlanta are in a temperate rainforest, actually.
Oh, we live in a rainforest.
We do, and a lot of
kinda-
people don't know that.
Well, it feels like that over the last 3 weeks here, for the
Right.
record. Yeah.
Yeah, so we just have tons and tons of these deciduous trees, which is very different from California, which has mostly pines and other conifers.
Okay.
So all of the maples and the oaks, hickories. These are these really green leafy trees in the summer, and then in the fall we get those beautiful fall colors.
Yeah.
That is not a thing I ever experienced in California.
Wow.
So it's just so beautiful. Yeah, and people, we talk a little bit of smack on the humidity, but it is pretty cool that we live in a rainforest.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
without that humidity, we're probably not going to get all that rain, right?
Exactly.
So,
Right.
If we didn't have all the rain, we wouldn't have the trees.
Um,
The rain
Yeah.
is key, right?
the rain is key.
And I think it's fascinating when you look at the East Coast. It seems like there's a lot of trees running up and down, especially like the Appalachian area. And so it's kind of a gift to be here in an area that has all these trees. So
Yes.
I think it's one of the nice things about Atlanta.
I agree.
Atlanta ranks as one of the top, if not the top, metropolitan area with an extensive tree canopy. So we do know that's kind of a nice thing.
It is.
It's also good for environment, for the air. It kind of pulls out all the CO2, right, out of the
Yeah.
air. So not all of it, but it definitely does a good job.
It does.
Well, So there's so many more things I'm sure our audience would have questions on. Where can they go to get more information on the Dunwoody Nature Center?
Your watchers can visit our website, which is dunwoodynature.org. Pretty much everything we do, you're going to find information on our website about it. And we also have our social media channels.
Wow.
So we are at Dunwoody Nature Center for pretty much everything, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/DunwoodyNature.
Good.
Yes.
And it sounds like Darcy's always posting great information for you on things you can learn about in the area, so the educational components there, as well as find out what's going on with Butterfly Weekend and the other annual things. And the summer programs, you guys do very well with a lot of summer programs with the students in the area. Those typically sell out, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yeah, I think we had almost 2,000 campers this summer, over the course of the summer. Our biggest year yet. And yeah, just so much fun at summer camp.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great program.
Well, Darcy, we're so glad you came in to see us today. We love talking to folks in the area, and Dunwoody Nature Center is such an important part of Dunwoody, so having you come in and share what you have today is so important, so thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great.
Bet. Absolutely. So for the rest of you folks, thank you for being here. This show was produced by Discover Dunwoody. Our producer is Madison Holtz. Our sound technician is Emily Inser-Gibson. If you would like one of our Dunwoody stickers, we are still giving these out. You can come right here into the office to pick them up, or go by City Hall or the Dunwoody Library, and they would be happy to give you one. They're absolutely free. So on behalf of our entire Discover Dunwoody team, thank you for watching. Be sure to catch us on our social media accounts. You can use the handle Discover Dunwoody everywhere, or just go to our website, discoverdunwoody.com. So until next time, enjoy the day and go out and discover Dunwoody.